Hi everyone, I'm Christina and this is my Boxing Day wrap-up. Quick backstory, back in 2011 I received a Kindle for Christmas, and on my Kindle was one book, Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. I own the physical copy now because I love Cassandra Clare, but I read this bad boy in one day back in 2011. I read this in one day, which was a lot for me back then. It was my first kind of sit down, read through straight. And so the following Boxing Day, I decided to do the same thing. And I sat down and I read Beautiful Chaos by Kami Garcia and Margaret Stohl. So from then on, I was like, I need to push myself to do this every year and to make it bigger and better every year. So last year, I read 3 books. I think in the span of like 6 hours or something like that. I also try and read for a longer hour time as well, along with pages and book numbers and all that stuff. Before I started the day, I set out that I was going to finish Katie McGarry's books. I had already read Pushing the Limits, and I wanted to finish Dare You To, Crash Into You, Take Me On, and also read her short story, Red at Night. So I did that. I did all of that. I started around 9:15, and I had Dare You To finished at 12:11, and that was already half my day, and I was really worried. I didn't need to be. I finished Crash Into You just before 3. Finished Red at Night, like just after 3, because it was a short story, so I read it extremely fast. I had Take Me On done by 5:30. What I had planned, I thought would take me till 9. So I'm like, what do I do? I picked up a list of books that I had written out that I was hoping to read this winter break, because they were 2014 releases that I wanted to get done in 2014. So I picked them up and tried to read them. So I started Atlantia around 6 o'clock. I took a half an hour break. And then I was done Atlantia 8 o'clock. And I was like, I'm going for this. I'm going for this. I picked up 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray, which I was really kind of worried about because it was like multi-dimensional and I was worried it would be too confusing for Boxing Day. I read it in an hour and a half. I don't even know like how I did that, but I did that. Next, I was like, okay, it is 9:30. I can do this. I picked up Rooms by Lauren Oliver. Midway through Rooms, I was scared I wouldn't finish Rooms in time. It was adult. It was kind of dragging a bit. Probably the least favorite book I read. Well, I didn't like the short story that much. I didn't hate it. I finished it at 10:46, and I knew I'd be cutting it close, and I picked up The Jewel by Amy Ewing, and I was hoping I'd read it fast, because it was like reminiscent of The Selection for a lot of people, and I read that fast. For some reason, I thought this would be fast. 11:57, I finished The Jewel. With eating and with like my break I took, I read about 14 hours out of that 24-hour span. I think that's pretty good. 1 short story, 7 books, 2,972 pages. I read that in a day. I read that in 14 hours. I don't even know how I did that. I'm still kind of in shock at how well Boxing Day went this year. Problem now, how am I gonna beat that next year? Like, I think next year I'm gonna have to decide to like read the thickest books possible and try and meet my page count, because I don't think I can meet my book count and my page count at the same time. And I'm definitely gonna try and beat my hour count. I really want to get to a point where it's like 4 and 20. I know it's like bad for sleep, but it'd be really cool if I could get to that point. I can't read for 24 hours. I need to sleep. I'm also hoping next year to run it a bit more professionally, depending on how this little thing goes by this time next year. So I thought I'd just make this video to kind of introduce the concept of what I do and also to wrap up this year. So thank you so much for watching. Bye. Ooh. I don't remember book titles right now. Why am I blanking out? The book by Jay Asher. What's that book called?